If you ask me what the so-called artificial intelligence found on that 1994 tape, I'll tell you without embellishment, it found too many people in a place where I was alone. People, in quotation marks. Voices that returned my words with a 2-second delay, breaths placed after the syllables, 3 knocks that came from no object at all. In 1994, I just did what I always did, walked the fence line, recorded the wind, posts, shallow water in the creek, spoke dates and times into a worn-out VHS-C, nothing mystical, just work. 10 years later, in 2004, I ran that audio through a speech recognition program that the university people called AI. It cleaned up noise, marked onsets, compared timbres. It doesn't think, it measures. And what it measured was worse than the memory. Where I said no cut, there came another no cut. Too clean, with the breathing stitched in behind, as if someone remembered to put the air in afterward to sound human. No creature appeared. What appeared was me, almost certainly, in the mouth of another. The tape doesn't prove the impossible. It proves that something learned me. And when it finished, it knew my name, a name I did not say aloud that night. My name is Evan Torres. In 1994, I was 23 and worked for the Taos Rural Resources Department in northern New Mexico. Half the time was field work, checking fence lines, water spouts, assessing wooden bridges after rain. The other half I spent in a small office, with old coffee and map, cabinets, cataloguing ambient sound on VHS-C tapes, wind in the grass, water hitting rock, a distant bark. My boss thought measuring the landscape by ear was modern, and I liked it because sound grounds me. I also took a few night audio classes at the community college, simple spectrograms, noise reduction, basic phonetics. Nothing brilliant, just enough for me to trust what the ear learns. My camera was a Hitachi VHS-C inherited from my aunt. It whined softly when the motor engaged the tape. I strapped it to my chest with a harness, pointing forward with no aesthetic ambition. The trail that Friday, late October, was routine. Check if the water was flowing cleanly to the trough and make a note. With no moon, the cold drops early out there. The smell is juniper and pinyon, very fine dust on the laces. The fence followed the slope down to a shallow creek. A wooden post kept the wire taut, with old staples that sing when the wind hits them. I marked it with my voice. 17. 32, north fence, water clear. Saying the time calms me. Hearing my own voice over the wind gives me a sense of place. I was, and am, skeptical out of respect. I grew up hearing that some things are better left unnamed. I never treated the Skinwalker stories as a joke. They just weren't part of my world. My world fit into a notebook, tape, compass, and a coat that kept out the cold. That afternoon, I went out to bring back half a page of notes and return. I returned with a piece of myself, placed outside. Remember this, I was alone, no partner, no radio on, no headlights, just me, the fence, little water, thin wind, and my voice doing the courtesy of marking time. That courtesy became a problem. What changes a night is not the spectacle, it's the sum of the details. At 17:41, a short whistle came from the side without a trail. A clean whoo, like someone testing the air. I answered the tape. Late bird, wanting to be reasonable with whoever would listen to me later, me. 30 steps ahead, 3 knocks, knock, knock, knock. Sound of metal hitting metal, but the fence wasn't swaying. I put my hand on the wire, felt the cold, no movement. I noted sound travels on the fence, could be from far away. Acceptable excuse. At 17:45, I said, creek low, current weak. 5 seconds later, the recording captured a repetition. Current, weak. The same timbre, only too clean. The wind was missing, the scrape of my coat was missing. I stopped with my foot half in the air. I looked. At the post, the shimmer of the water, the brush. Nothing. I thought old tape, motor eating a piece of speech and splicing it back wrong. But VHS-C doesn't create new words. I put my ear close to the wire. The post vibrated like a string, very subtly. The feeling was strange. The sound seemed to travel inside the metal. I did the silly test. 3 quick steps. 2 seconds later, 3 pulses traveling through the fence. I did it again, now with 2 steps and a pause. Same thing, a delayed echo, but one that doesn't need a wall. I blamed the creak, a large drop falling into a hollow casing, a lie that soothes. At 17:52, I said, "North fence, no cut." Shortly after, another no cut came in my tone, without the fatigue of my mouth. My body responded before my head, my scalp tightened, my stomach clenched. When the fear is small, we give it a name that fits. Strange. I wrote atypical in the notebook because strange gives too much away. The whistle repeated, now to the right, near. The water. I turned my neck by reflex. Nothing. The light dropped, the cold thickened. I said, 5 more minutes and I'm heading back. The recording returned, more, with the wrong delicacy, as if someone were reading the emotion without understanding it. That's when I shut up. Giving a phrase seemed like giving a tool. I walked close to the fence because the metal, even silent, is company. I wanted that thing, whatever it was, to resolve itself in the wind. The wind did not resolve it. Time is where fear lives. I walked, and 2 seconds later, another step happened, somewhere that had no ground. I stopped, and 2 seconds later, the corresponding silence came, millimeter perfect. I recorded 3 taps with my knuckle on the post. 2 seconds, 3 taps in no air. The wire remained quiet. The sound didn't need an object. Public place, I thought. There might be people. It was an offer of reality. The response came small, polite, like someone repeating for confirmation. People. No saliva, no sibilance, no throat. As if the mouth were unnecessary, only the word mattered. At 18:03, a low Jesus escaped me, an old reflex. 2 seconds later, je suis. The syllable cut was identical, the pause identical, and the breath came afterward. That day, I only felt that something was wrong. In 2004, the graph would explain it. Right there, I could only get quieter. The whistle reappeared on the right at the edge of the water, like someone calling a dog without giving offense. I turned my head and illuminated nothing. The post made a whine of staples giving way a millimeter. I wanted to leave and not leave at the same time. Staying is stubbornness pretending to be method. I said 5 more minutes because the phrase had served me before, and it came 5 more minutes. This time complete, with a weight on the last utes that wasn't mine. Learning in progress. 3 knocks ahead, same cadence as before. Then an ownerless, "Hey, neutral English, a tape kiss." Answered no. No came back, with the vowels smiling like people who never smile. Small error, big effect. I understood a rule. If I give a pattern, it uses it. If I withdraw, it waits. In fear, waiting is also drawing closer. I clung to what I knew how to measure. Rhythm, delay, short syllables. Angry at nothing, I spoke to the dark. If it's someone, answer twice. 1 came, then 3, and then my name, Evan. Simple, soft, school-like. I had not said my name. My badge was turned toward the lining of my jacket. No mark earlier on the tape. My body understood first. I was recognized. My head tried to save me. Pirate radio, ricochet, someone hidden in the brush, a rusty ventriloquist. That part keeps us on our feet, inventing hypotheses until the ground agrees. Meanwhile, I did the child's trick, counting. 4 steps, breathe. 4 steps, breathe. The delay tried to keep up with me and missed the breath. That gave me a small, dirty piece, the size of 3 seconds. I went down to the creek because water gives direction. I accidentally kicked a rock. It hit another. The sound traveled through the wire as if the metal were the nerve of the place. I said, "Stop it," in a tone I use with a neighbor's dog. The answer was, "Stop it," with poorly tucked-in joy in the middle. The worst forgery is the one that almost gets you right. I saw the grey pickup, high up, a dull shadow. I climbed slowly, with that idiotic feeling that turning my back gives away my name. The highest post marked my path. The wire sang low. I decided on a small promise to touch the hood and stop talking. Small promises fit those who need to arrive. Behind me, 3 knocks, perfect, as if someone were reviewing what they had learned. I didn't answer. Even silence becomes an offering at these times. The frozen door handle didn't yield on the first try. I always lock it. The whistle appeared on the driver's side, then the passenger's, and then from within, as if the sound used the metal of the cab to dwell. The missing word came carefully. Evan. No scratch of a throat, no teeth. More attention than intention. "Don't say my name," I said, breathless with anger. 2 seconds later, "Don't say my name." The breath came late, glued on like an accessory. The wire behind me made 3 knocks in no air, a 2-second metronome. Anyone who has played an instrument knows that is the timing of someone waiting for your beat. I did not turn around. Turning is admitting the stage. I looked at my pale face reflected on the hood, a speck of dust on the chrome. I said, "Go away," softly, with an authority I didn't have. "Go away" came back, with a smile tucked into the vowel, the smile of someone who never had a mouth. It was worse than shouting at me. I opened, got in, closed. The sound got louder for a second, like water entering a bucket, and then quieter, muffled. I started the engine. The headlights bit into the dust. The voice said my name one more time, close to the radiator grill, as if pressing its forehead against the car with me. I swallowed hard, put it in gear, and left. No one ran after me. Nothing needed to run. Sometimes what follows you doesn't need legs. Dirt road, low dust, radio on minimum volume. I hit the steering wheel 4 times with my finger, an idiotic ritual, and waited for the delay. It didn't come. It seemed the fence was the bone of that thing. Away from the metal, the pattern dissolved. I breathed like someone biting air. The tape sat in a cracked case for 10 years. 2004, a lab with a CRT monitor, noisy air conditioning, the room almost empty. The university had licensed speech recognition software that marked onsets, formants, tried alignment using hidden models. People called it AI. I digitized my tape one dawn and let the machine chew. The spectrogram opened in colors. I knew it would hurt, and yet it hurt. The program marked 2 pace tracks, mine and the others, running parallel with a constant difference. 2.3s in long stretches, 2.1s when I sped up, 2.5s when I hesitated. It wasn't an echo. Echoes die, they fail. That thing keeps up. In the words "The Final Blow," the software detected my breath before my speech and the others afterward, always afterward. The others' sounds were too clean, without the dirt of a throat, as if the voice was born already edited. I tested the madness. I spoke my name over it, into the lab microphone. The algorithm marked Evan on my track, and crossing it, Evan again on the old 1994 track, with the same melodic curve and the post-syllable breath. It wasn't that the AI had invented the phenomenon. It merely saw what my body already knew, and my head wouldn't allow itself to say. What I understood on that cold screen was simple and bad. The tape didn't record a creature, it recorded a method. Someone used me as a ruler. It took my rhythm, my pauses, my short words, and learned quickly. And it stopped when it no longer needed me. I closed the program. The room smelled of heated dust. The world went on as if nothing had happened, and, for everyone else, nothing did happen. I never went back to that fence line. In the official report, I wrote, "Possible human activity and complex acoustics." These are phrases that hold the wall up from the outside. The tape exists. Sometimes I listen. My voice comes first, and right after, another one comes. The same, only without saliva and with the breath where it shouldn't be. It repeats me politely, like someone asking permission to Replace me. In the late afternoon, when the wind rustles the junipers, sometimes I hear 3 knocks that come from nowhere. I stay quiet. I learned that giving a phrase is giving a tool. If you are ever alone and hear someone repeat what you just said, don't answer. That's how it learns your name, and when it learns it, you turn into a version. If this account got to you, like, share, and follow. The next story is about a voice that learned to breathe and what happens when you choose silence as your only answer.